putting what the president is saying, so that because people listen to their leaders. They listen to them. Why is the president saying like that? And from there, that angle, we would like to see more of leaders who are coming to this country. Keep on telling us. I remember the current president talking about the judiciary, the spirit, and this other one, and it's guidance, because that's where they are leaders. They are guided. So all those are now legacies. And if you just pick the Kuta Bukusa rule.
Just a bit. Let's just have a listening of what is happening there. The national anthem as the body makes its way to Parliament.
Yeah.
from the venue of this event. And looking at what is happening on screen right now, because I've seen the arrival of the Inspector General of Police, Hilary Mutyambai. I've also seen several service commanders arrive at Parliament buildings. It's also an indication that the President is not far off from setting off from State House to come to the Parliament buildings for this very important event. But, you know, my senior Joseph Kaguthi was nodding here when you were talking about, you know, keeping the differences aside for the sake of country. Joseph.
Yes. This is the way it should be. And that's why Mzee Munyo atakwambia, we are in the civil service, like provincial administration, we're very complex. We work with none and we work with all. So that at times like this time, you respect and you bring everybody together. This is a time that you remove all your differences and now fall on the national level. The country, our country. We are now on this celebration, as Mzee has told us, and therefore everybody must feel. You remember during the bomb blast? During the bomb blast, I was peacing in Nairobi here. And you remember our president that time, the leader of official opposition, and the others, the big guns who are there, led by Mzee Kibaki and all the others. They came in one combi to the bomb blast site. Nairobi that time was under the government of DP. Even the deputy mayor, the mayor were all DP. And unasahau vitu yote. That's why Article 4 of the BBI, I miss it. Because it ought to bring this one to focus. When it comes to the matters state, the country, you leave anything else, you have small differences, short time differences, you come now and move to the country. So for this one, I expect that even you in the media, mujaribu kutuunite sana, tuachane na vitu dogo sasa ya competitive politics, so that we come together as one nation.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And you know, this happens at a very critical time because hadn't this very sad event happened, obviously everybody would be in the campaign trail.
Yes.
You remember the deputy president has actually put off his 3 days of campaign in Western Kenya to celebrate the life of President Kibaki. Obviously for the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, it was not possible for him to postpone that trip abroad, but I'm sure wherever he is serving as Prime Minister with President Mwai Kibaki, he's also affected in one way or another. And Victor, generally, that's the mood and feel. And I think Joseph Kaguthi feels we have not done enough to cultivate nationhood in this country in terms of establishing what is our national value, what is our national fabric, what binds us together more, what is our identity. Probably is a big question for him.
Even you ask a little more. What are our strategic interests that we can go to war if you interfere with that? I looked at the constitution on nationhood, duties and responsibilities of citizens. I looked at the constitution of Somalia, Ethiopia, Sudan, Uganda, Tanzania, and Rwanda. Kenya does not have that provision of the duties and responsibilities of citizens. Therefore, you can see us, apart from Kenya, istahili, heshima, you see us cannibalizing ourselves. So the minute you ask that question is a very pertinent question, and we would wish.
And that's the family of President Kibaki, his 3 sons and daughter, now making their way to where the casket lays, or the body of the president will be kept. And those are preliminary pointers to that the president is not really far off from getting to Parliament. And obviously when he comes, we shall be handing the program over to but look, the judicial system, that's the Chief Justice, and all the judges, and actually in their robes, including the Chief Registrar, Anna Madi, all coming to pay their last respects to President Mwai Kibaki. And Victor, very importantly, because you will remember former Chief Justice Willy Mutunga. You remember during the retirement of President Kibaki, when he was awarding him that, golf club and stuff like that, he said there's a direct line from State House to the office of a Chief Justice. And never did it ring during the reign of President Kibaki. Yes, to the Chief Justice. Quite an interesting, a man who really wanted institutions to function as they were, without interference. And he's actually one of the reasons you're sitting where you're sitting and saying the things you're saying, because previously?
It's a very, a health minister here who is smiling when you mentioned the word that at no point did that phone ring. Because when you look at the independence of all these independent bodies, we have got the legislature, we have got the judiciary, and of course the executive. All these bodies are deemed to be independent. And as the minister said, Kibaki had a particular way of running his own kind of, affairs. He was an absolutist. Whatever he wanted that way, and for the good of the nation. All right, for the good of the nation. And probably just to bring to your attention is that at this particular level, you see the judiciary is now represented by the registrar, that is Anna Madi, in their ceremonial robe. We have got the Chief Justice will also be making her way there. There you have them. It's quite important to note that that is another wing of the government which President Mwai Kibaki led. And so we expect them to take charge at this particular point before the public is, before Parliament is open to the public to view the body of the late president. And just to mention that security is well taken care of. Security is well taken care of because it is a military affair.
Victor, and not to overlap, just a bit, because when I see the judiciary, it reminds me of the radical surgery in the judiciary that was actually spearheaded by President Mwai Kibaki when he took over. There was a general feeling that the judiciary was under capture or was operating under the hand of the executive, and there were judges that appeared to be either corrupt or were leaning towards the system as much, and therefore to restore the confidence of Kenyans into the judiciary. You remember Judge Gicheru? Is the one who led this radical surgery as Chief Justice. But under President Mwai Kibaki, to try and restore confidence in the institution of judiciary.
You remember the catchphrase, the small fish, the big fish, and all manner of fishes will not be spared. And you see, that's how it's begun.
Another thing, but we should not forget, and you people should be promoting it, is this a Vision 2030? Vision 2030 stabilize almost everything in this country. And Mike, when you talk about Vision 2030, from the time it was initiated to it's still on, and it shows that up to 2030, whatever is going to be done is what Kibaki laid down on, because that is all what we are working on.
Where are we in terms of a scale of 100%?
Oh yeah.
Where are we?
No, we are progressing very, very well, because whatever you do, you come in, you promote whatever was left behind to achieve what was aimed at that time, whether it is issue of water, issue of education, electricity, water, roads, and all that. You are all the time looking at that booklet of Vision 2030.
Absolutely.
It was a very good thinking.
You were members of the golf club. You used to play golf together.
We were members of golf club, but we were also golfers. We used to play golf together in Muthaiga, in Machakos, and in Mombasa, all that. And Kibaki was very good. And in golf, you play either two of you or single or four of you. The maximum is four. And you are all given partners. And he never used to choose who to play with, but then as you play, you used to enjoy so much, particularly when he's kicking off. Oh, very well, you really enjoy. And the best concentration. I think concentration comes at that time when you look at that little ball kicking with a very small little stick. And you can't miss it. You all the time do it. And particularly when you are now chipping in or patting to Put it that small little hole. Yeah.
He was a good golf player.
Good golf player.
Remember him.
And immediately after that, you go and relax, talking very well, having freedom. And he would mix with everybody at that time. Yeah.
You know,
and even at that time, he's a president. But
yes.
When you go to mix after the social gathering, you will never know who is who. Because he welcomes you all.
I'm meant to understand that out of office, President Mwai Kibaki never used to discuss matters politics.
No, Kibaki would not take any issue about politics. But the state of the country, yes, economically, or getting information, whatever have you, that was welcome to him. Yeah.
In 2002, Minister, in 2002, the entire nation was charged. At that particular point, nobody knew President Mwai Kibaki, nobody knew Kijana Wamalwa, nobody knew Charity Ngilu, nobody knew, apart from Raila Odinga, who was agitating for democracy and all that. But all of a sudden, all the posters across the country was for President Mwai Kibaki, Kijana Wamalwa, Charity Ngilu, and many other dignitaries during that.
That is the time we came as NAC, because we collected all these other parties and then came back together.
Yes.
In fact, we even shifted from our own office, because our office was in Kitanga Road. And in that area, just along there, we got a building and opened a new office called NAC office.
Yes.
All the other parties, you leave whatever office you are, that was a common office for NAC, the National Alliance. And that is the time we all came together, forgot whatever you had as a leader of your own party, but to form one lineup. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And that brought us together.
Yes. Yeah. I'll talk more about 2002 because it was a defining moment. Because when he got the shield and the instruments of power, he was on a wheelchair after attending his treatment way in abroad, which was facilitated, so to speak, by Raila Odinga, as people would say. But then I'll get to details on that. Jacob, you know what happens is that this particular function is a military affair led by the Kenya Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Bwana PC will correct me if I'm wrong, because at this particular point, the head of state is the head of state, and President Mwai Kibaki was at the echelon of his, the mantle as the commander-in-chief. So we would expect everything done by the seniors at the military base. Bwana PC, just to ask you this, how would it look like when we head to Nyeri? Because it's a military affair, we should expect a lot of precision from now until the point the president will be laid to rest, right?
You can take it up, Bwana PC.
You know, it depends on that national committee. There's a national committee which is sensitive to the requirements of the people on the ground. Remember, he is a head of state. He is there for hours. But the people of Nyeri, they are the ones who are donating him throughout to go to the national level. Therefore, they got to be considered by that committee. The county government, for instance, you've seen that they have even issued their statement. They are part of the interest group, the family. So the level from here is likely to be cascaded in a different manner so that it takes interest of the local environment. If you remember, you alluded to the heroes corner, the heroes corner. During the time we were burying the late Jaramogi Odinga, one of the positions that had been taken, I think this was Damas Otieno, the minister at that time, he said if the family wants to donate so that we take him to another level, government can consider. For me, I would like people, the leaders of the head of state, if they are brought here, the multiplier effect in terms of benefit, it is better at Heroes Corner other than Nyumbani. Because even me, the mausoleum we put at Nyamira Kango, I've never visited there, but if it was here, I would be seeing certain people because it's enough ground. We could do that so that there is a concentration of our history, and I repeat, not natural history, national history. So we start being together, whereby you see this one, this was the leader of opposition, then it became government, this, and then we bring it together. So I cannot tell you for sure which direction they will take, because there is a committee now organizing it with all the stakeholders and the owners of the stake involved.
Absolutely, and I'm sure the Minister for Interior, who is heading that committee, that is Dr. Fred Matiang'i, will be updating us, of course, in the coming days as regards the plans to enter the body of the third president of the Republic, Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. But of course, before we hand back to Victor, there's this question, because the first point when people interact with Mwai Kibaki's economic policies is when he has become Minister for Finance and Planning. And there's a lot of praise coming from around that time. For the sake of generations that were not able to experience that time, probably tell us, what did Kibaki do, and what was the ripple effect on the economy when he becomes Minister for Finance and National Planning?
Kibaki became Finance Minister during the time of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta. And the blueprints that you are seeing, if you subtract his contribution on the economic development and direction of this country, is a different country altogether. The impact is that big. Just look at it this way. Leave alone even the time I was talking about the session of paper, the development plans. One development plan, for instance, which he did, I regret it was not implemented. The 1979-83 National Development Plan, it was based on projects. How many hurricanes do we use, instead of the cans? How many umbrellas? This factory is ready for implementation. This one, and using the Harambee spirit, the cooperative movement, pick this and implement. Pick this and implement. But unfortunately, when Mzee Moi took over, he more or less set it aside. You remember, he was a different. He took from a person who was very, very strong. So anaenda huko anaulizwa, tunataka health center, chukueni. Tunataka hospitali, chukueni. Tunataka lami hapa, chukueni. Tunataka A-levels, chukueni. So we more or less suspended that national development plan. It didn't come back again. But if you remove, look at it this way, even when he became president, with Mzee here as their ministers, we were collecting about 180 billion, our budget. By the time he was leaving, it was almost hitting $1 trillion. It's like a revolution. Just look at the number of times. It's just like the way the current president has done. If you look at where he picked it and where he is now, it's mind-boggling. Only that because of what I told you about what is coming through. So you cannot quantify quickly. We will take a bit of time to know exactly.
Let me cut you short to just say that Martin Nyaga Wambora, the chair of the Council of Governors, is making his way to Parliament buildings. And of course, presidential hopeful on Chama cha Usawa, the governor for the great county of Murang'a, Mwangi Wairia, is accompanying Martin Nyaga Wambora to the Parliament buildings as the country pays its last respects as we celebrate the life of Emilio Stanley Mwai Kibaki. Of course, you were marrying the economic think tank of the president then as Minister for Finance, and how he carried it forward as president.
Look at it this way again. We reached a level, I remember one time, his Minister for Finance, was it Bwana Kimunya? He went to one of the international conferences and said, we are funding our budget to the tune of 96%. Everybody said, in a that wild country like this? Yeah, because you remember, he even changed from the Moi to him that the embassies used to have a caucus, put a lot of pressure on the government. He relaxed it and the ministers were running the country. And he said, tutafunga nyinyi kama hamtatoa kodi. Remember? And the Waweru just shot.
You were talking about Alfred Mutua, the former spokesperson of government, and there he is, actually coming into parliament. There's Governor Anne Waiguru of Kirinyaga and Amason Jeffa Kingi. Amason Jeffa Kingi was actually the Minister for East African Cooperation during the second term of President Kibaki when he was sharing government with Raila Odinga. And there's also Governor Mutahi Kahiga. He's actually President Kibaki's governor in Nyeri. All those governors coming in to pay the last respects to President Mwai Kibaki. I think at some point even Anne Waiguru was serving at Treasury alongside President Uhuru Kenyatta as Minister for Finance then. And Anne Waiguru was, I think, Under Secretary for Planning in Treasury. And so these people in one way or another have a working relationship again with the president.
Including our current president.
Oh yes. In many ways.
When he read his first budget, I saw Waheshimiwa, they were not believing that if you look at it and if you play that clip, you see them saying, where will it be done? How will it happen? And the impact of the guidance from Mzee Kibaki.
All right.
It is there.
Actually, the relationship with President Kibaki, President Uhuru Kenyatta goes further because the godfather of President Kenyatta is actually President Mwai Kibaki. So the relationship goes a bit further. Obviously, as we continue to see the live pictures coming from Parliament, Victor, before you hand it over to us, you were speaking about the 2002 moment, and it is very important, you know, to pick from Minister Munyao about that, the intense time, a handover from President Moi to the new president who is on a wheelchair, President Mwai Kibaki.
Absolutely. Just to mention that, we remember the Unwalkable song. It's still fresh in our mind. In fact, if you ask someone, I am unwalkable, and everybody will sing that song. At that particular point when President Kibaki came from London after getting his treatment and straight to Uhuru Park and getting the reins of power, what was the mood like for people who never saw that particular point?
The mood was really, you could see. And even on that side, is the first time I saw Moi lining up, because you see that is the time he was handing over power.
Right.
And we all had to go in there. He had a particular place to sit, but I don't think he said where he wanted to sit, because he was not sure of what is happening, because you know, the whole of Uhuru Park was completely full, up to that area of Minister of Health. The entire area, and All Saints Church, the area was fully covered, and everybody wanted to see and hear Honorable Kibaki speak, and wanted to see what the leaders are coming to see. It was a wonderful day, wonderful.
And it was a smooth transition, though so painful. It was
cool,
a sad one.
So cool, and everybody was ready to do whatever we needed to do, which was very good, actually.
Did you ever expect at any given point that President Kibaki would get to that seat?
Yeah, of course, when we were fighting earlier, we were fighting for him to get it, but we didn't expect him to get it in that situation. But even when he got in that situation, it was also good because he was courageous enough and he managed. And more so to be brought to Uhuru Stadium at that time and make a full speech to everybody when the area was completely full and we are all quiet to listen. It was a great thing. Great thing.
Okay. Before I take you to Nancy Okware, there is this point that most people can easily relate to President Mwai Kibaki as compared to President Moi. Perhaps PC Kaguthi would tell us how it was then, where we would line up for a whole day. It was a holiday in your area. When President Moi was coming into your area, you'd line up. But with the PC Kaguthi, who would marshal up all the DOs, the DCs, and the Land Rovers to line up for President Moi. But with Kibaki, it was different. He would pop in a particular area, address the gathering, and go. Just to mention, how was it with President Mwai Kibaki?
No, boy, Mike Kibaki was cool, like you have just said.
Yes.
And his information and the tours were all cool. Although the information used to be spread all around, because that's the purpose of the provincial administration, to align ways. But every time he comes, he was cool and everything. And
we expect that we'll be here just before 10 a.m. So in less than an hour, he should be there. He will be accompanied by the First Lady of the country. Once he gets here, the national anthem will be played, and then he will walk in and he will be able to view the remains of President Kibaki. It is not going to be such a long process. Timing the national anthem, and he will go in and view the remains in order to allow as many Kenyans as possible to be able to pay their last respects. Yes, indeed. It is significant that the remains of President Kibaki are actually brought to Parliament. One, the security is good here. People will be able to come in and go out. He's been placed in a place where he's able to be offered the dignity that he deserves as a head of state, as a leader of the country. But also, President Kibaki will be remembered as one of the longest-serving members of Parliament in the country. He first went to Parliament in the 60s, representing a constituency here in Nairobi, and only continued
You know, the president is the most informed single person in any country. Every leader has their own style. The style of President Moi transition from Kenyatta to him was such that Kenyatta was in Nakuru, anakuja Nairobi, Gatundu, Mombasa, that kind of thing. Here comes a president, he wants to touch the ground, visiting everywhere. Then comes Mzee Kibaki. He is in a wheelchair. So his level of communication had to change, isn't it? So when the president is coming to the area, every PC had his own style. Like my style is that huyu ni mwanasiasa anataka watu. So you mobilize watu.
You mobilize.
And Nyanza people are loyalist community, so they just come and you get the visit, what he's communicating becomes very good. That's the difference.
Okay.
But when you look at Mzee Kibaki now, you know, to me as a personal tribute, you know, he is the architect of modern Kenya. If you look at what he did, a liberal futuristic thinker who put things, structures for future implementation. And when you talk about sessional paper number 10, you see what he was seeing. Then you remember there was another one, Degwa report. They put a lot of direction again. Wale watu mlikuja kufanya nini? Mungekuwa mnalima. Pesa mtatoa wapi? Hapana, uliza pesa itatoka kwa bank. Then huko anauliza the Social Economic Council. How can we reduce the interest rate? You remember that story? Which is current. Akawaambia wakasema that council kinalida choka na akawaambia mumeanguka mtihani. Mkiuliza huyu mtu mfupi, that's Meraria. Asichukue pesa from within the country, asiborrow from within. You remember big banks were like kiosks.
In the streets.
The interest came to 8%. You remember? Because his economic principles, he knows it and he directs it.
Tumesikitishwa na taarifa za kifo cha mzee wetu na rais mstaafu wa Kenya mzee Mwai Kibaki. Afrika tumeondokewa na kiongozi mahiri na mtumishi bora wa umma. Nakupa pole kaka yangu Mheshimiwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, wanafamilia na Wakenya wote. Mungu amweke mahali pema peponi. Amina. But that's how President Kibaki is viewed by the region in terms of his push for regional integration
and economic growth of the people of the region.